So today my talk is called, Who Do You Think You Are? And other interesting questions to turn around. Who do you think you are, think you are, think you are? Who do you think you are, think you are, think you are? Who do you think you are, think you are, think you are? Whatever you answer is true. Whatever you answer is who. Whatever you answer is you. We all have a dark voice inside our head, inside the coffee cup and under the bed. It feeds on our confidence and nibbles the soul, and lives to belittle us and have all control, saying, who do you think you are, think you are, think you are? Who do you think you are? What? Who do you think you are? You are, think you are, think you are. Whatever you answer is true. Whatever you answer is who. Whatever you answer is you. Her voice kept telling her she was a fool. Next thing you know, she's failing in school. His voice convinced him that he'd always fail, and just like your brother, end up in jail. Who do you think you are, think you are? Hey, not so fast. Who do you think you are, think you are, think you are? Well, I used to think that I was unable to go beyond what I had been labeled, till one day I learned a much truer voice, and that I had a better choice. So I went to my heart instead of my head. I got real quiet, and here's what it said. Who do you think you are, think you are, think you are, you adorable thing? Who do you think you are, you fabulous girl? Who do you think you are? Hey, you're pretty good at that. Who do you think you are? Whatever you answer is true. Whatever you answer is who. Whatever you answer is you. You be you, the most wonderful, original you. Thank you. Thank you for being such a fine judge of talent. I love that. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. I know. Why do I go? Yeah, when Jesus said, I am the light of the world, I go, well, yeah, you're Jesus. You know, yeah. You've got a pretty impressive dad. Yeah, you're Jesus. But then he also said, and you are the light of the world. Oh, no. Yeah, you are the light of the world. Why is that so hard to take in? So, A Course in Miracles says a miracle is a change in perception. So I thought, well, there is another way to see these questions. Who do you think you are? These are the ones that would stop me in my tracks when I was a kid. Who do you think you are? And listen, with a name like Mary Megan McDonough and being the seventh of 9 kids, it's no mystery that I was raised in a certain religion. that was rather strict. There are a few of us here at Unity where everybody gets in, everybody's accepted, we love you. What? But I had to ask myself, who do I think I am when I came to Unity? And I learned that anything I say after those two words, I am, I make true. Ooh. So I think I was a little put off with the responsibility of that. The responsibility of being the light of the world. Now, when I went to Catholic school, I was told, you must be an example to the public school children. You must be an example. Oh my gosh, you guys, my best friend was Lutheran. I think she was a good example to me, you know. But yeah, I think the responsibility was a little daunting. But and at the beginning of the year, I was focused on, of course, in January, I was focused on vision. And I was reading Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith's book, Life Visioning. And I was so into a new vision post, well, I don't think it's ever going to be post-COVID, but in the new world now, who do I think I am? And moreover, who do I want to be in the new world? I had to pivot like all of us. I think last time I was here, I spoke about how when COVID, in January of 2020, I sort of needed to break up with my life, and I didn't know how. I didn't even really know that I had to break up with my life because it just was like stalled. But then COVID hit, and okay, everything stopped. And I went up to Minnesota, where everyone is so nice. They're so nice in Minnesota, and it's so beautiful. My sister and her husband and her children live up in Minnesota, and she is a horse whisperer, and she has rescued a couple of horses that I got to be around, and she has a fantastic standard poodle named Luna, the wonder dog. Yay, standard poodles, right? Smart as a 10-year-old child, yes. And I was so fortunate to hit the reset button. I don't know how it happened, but you know, I think I sort of sat down and followed Spirit's guidance to just do nothing. There's really nothing you can do. Everybody, you know, a lot of my friends were saying, here's what you got to do. You got to, you know, and I thought, I don't have it. I just didn't have any. Okay, I just had to stop and pivot in a very quiet way. But, you know, life is wonderful, and a friend of mine asked me if I'd like to come back to Huntley, Illinois, very close to where I grew up out in Crystal Lake. I use Lenny Bruce's line of, not the end of the world, but you can see it from there. And to house sit in a beautiful home and for the winter. And it's been fantastic. And so now there are other pivots coming for me. But still the question remains, who do I think I am? Who do I want to be? I believe I'm a divine expression of the one presence and the one power. That I learned here at Unity and at Religious Science, especially in practitioner training. I was a member of Bodhi, the Bodhi community, which was the Centers for Spiritual Living Religious Science Church. And I remember when I was living in New York in the 80s, if your life is going to fall apart and if you're going to have a breakthrough, otherwise known as a breakdown, if you're going to bottom out in your life, I highly recommend New York City. Oh my gosh, it happens so quickly and the anonymity is great. Nobody knows that you're, who that crazy person is. They just, welcome. And so I had to stop, and I remember calling, I called Silent Unity. Who here has not called Silent Unity? Oh my gosh. First time I called Silent Unity, I felt like someone had dropped a fizzy. You young people, please Google fizzies. They were like these little Alka-Seltzer drops. Please Google Alka-Seltzer. But they, and they would effervescent your water. And so I felt like one of those was dropped into my bloodstream the first time I called Silent Unity. And my heart would always sit down and I would think, I'm going to be okay. And so I was calling Silent Unity, and I also called a religious science practitioner. And I said, I got to get out of New York, because New York was the problem, not me. If I can just get out of New York, I'll be okay. We call those geographical cures. Yeah. If I can just get back to Chicago, I'll be fine. So I remember what the practitioner said. I said, but I'm afraid to leave New York because here's sort of where it's happening. If I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. And she said, your good will find you no matter where you are. I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, I like that. I came back to Chicago, and boy, my life got better. I started living life a day at a time, and hanging out with some really cool people who were my teachers, became my teachers. And certainly every Unity minister I've ever known has been my teacher. But remembering who we are, that we are the light of the world, like that movie Cocoon. Have you ever seen that movie Cocoon? Google Cocoon movie. So great because it's about aliens hiding these or keeping these pods with other aliens in them that were in the ocean, and they put them in this swimming pool at this estate in Florida that is next door to a retirement community. And the seniors find this pool, and they sort of break in and go swimming with these pods. And after they've been in the water with these light beings that turn out to be light beings, they feel better and younger. And then, you've got to watch the movie. But my favorite scene in the movie is when the aliens who are in human suits are finished with their task of getting their friends out of the ocean to take back to their perfect planet, take off their human Earth suit, and they're just these beings of light sort of floating around, and they're beautiful. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Yes, we just can't unzip only in consciousness right now. But you've been places. You're here on Sunday when Highest Good plays, and it's the beginning of the unzipping, for your week, your day. Reverend Kitty, Kim Char, all these beautiful souls here at Unity Naperville. Help us to unzip a little bit at a time, and what comes forth is your light. That's who I think we are. Next question. Where do you think you're going? And I always love it when they put just where do you think you're going? To really, this one would stop me dead in my tracks. I'm 1 foot out the door. Just where do you think you're going? And that's a question that has played in my head. What? What, are you kidding? Here's what I know about life. It's going to take planning. It's going to take planning and a vision. That seems daunting to me. what do you want? What do you want? I don't know. I don't know. It changes. Besides, isn't there a more interesting question than what do you want? Because it's like candy. You eat candy. Or you want something and you get it and it's fantastic. And then it's like, now I want something else. So I'm always going to want something. And you know what? That's good. Desire. To desire means of the sire. I think of a higher power is putting a desire, writing something on my heart. But, of course, the voice would say, where do you think you're going? When the light voice might say, where do you think you're going? Where do you want to go? And what I know is, a vision takes time, takes focus, takes concentration, and then let go, put it in the pink bubble. Remember, Shakti Gawain was one of the first authors I read on, creative visualization. Brilliant. But she would say, put it in a pink bubble and let it go. I have a dear friend who pink bubbled a glorious life. I mean, she's a magical person, but she has pink bubbled so many beautiful things. So there's a song about, I think this is where I'm meant to go, and this is where I want to go, and so I'm just going to start going. And I know there might be obstacles, but people have had obstacles before. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. A friend of mine told me a story that when Moses got to the Red Sea and the Israelites, it didn't part right away. They got another message from God that said, you have to get in the water. Moses and Aaron were like, what the heck? Are you kidding? And as they were discussing this, a man by the name of Nachshon thought, well, let's get in the water and see what happens. If that's the directive, let's just, So he got in the water, and just as the water was about here, he called out, and I'm paraphrasing, what's the deal? This is about Nachshon. Moses had to put his foot in the water, and then the water parted. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Moses said, God, I hope you're listening, and in my heart I know you are. And I know you wouldn't leave us here after bringing us so far. But man, I gotta tell you, Lord, things are looking mighty tense. I've got Pharaoh and his boys behind me, and I don't see a hole in this fence. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. And God said, Moses, you're full of greatness, and I've got big plans for you. But for now, I gotta tell you, Mo, this is what I want you to do. You gotta raise yourself and tell everyone they gotta get into the swim. 'Cause if you want that sea to part, my boy, you're gonna have to get in. What? Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Now I've got daily seas to part, and I've got big cliffs to climb. And he may not be where I expect him, but he always shows up on time. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in water before God would part that sea. Everybody, Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea, before God would part that sea, and he's always gonna part that sea. Thank you. And so, that place you want to go, where you think you need to go or you should go, there might be obstacles. That's okay. That's okay. Keep going. Keep going. And then ask, hey, is this good? You know, listen, I love me some Siri. That's how I got here today. But we all have this compass, you know. I don't want it to get dusty, too unused, too rusty. So keep going. And lastly, one of my favorite questions to turn around and have a new perspective on is, where'd you get that idea? Oh, where did you get that idea? Well, at Unity, we absolutely know where ideas come from. We are creating, manifesting machines. How many of you have thought, gee, I'd like that, and it came to fruition? Yeah. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. And miracles that is the natural order of things, man. It's the natural order of things. They're supposed to happen. So we're miracle makers. I've had so much grace in my life. Because left to my own devices, some of the things that I wanted, not great. I always got to run them by somebody now. Got to take time. I know to get quiet. I know to drink some water, get grounded, maybe do some tapping. I'm way into tapping now. Love tapping to regulate my noggin. Meditation, quiet, run it by somebody else who knows you, loves you, wants the best for you. Because if I get an idea and just go, not so great, But God is a graceful God. He goes, yeah. Try this way. So, in closing, I want to say that I love what Glennon Doyle says. We can do hard things. One of her marvelous books, We Can Do Hard Things. Just sometimes getting out of bed is not easy. Feeling the feelings that come with so much loss over the past 3 years, and just feeling them, processing them, being together, stay in the middle of the herd. Don't go, I like to go rogue. I don't know why, still, I like to go rogue. Every time I do, it might work out, just not, it doesn't have that certain, I just did I did a work, I put up a show that I've been working on for 10 years because of the voice saying, who do you think you are? I don't know how I got rid of the voice, except maybe it was in writing this talk, but little by little, I got a little closer, and I just thought, what would it be like to put your musical on? And then one thing led to another. You ask the universe, what if the universe wants more interesting questions? The universe doesn't want questions like, what do I want? The universe is like, I don't know, but tell me and I'll get on that, What do I want? What's my purpose? That's really what I want to know. Why? Why am I here? I think I know, which is how great a gift is that, to actually know what I think I'm here to do. Yeah. So I put the musical up last month, and it was fantastic. I had the best time because I committed to enjoying the entire process. The entire process of writing, the entire process of going to class. I got an amazing writing coach who's also a solo show expert. She helped me so much. I got my friend to direct. It was like, well, I got a barn and I got some clothes, and it was fantastic. And so what I know is, why not just enjoy the process, regardless of how I think it's going to turn out? And you know what? That was so different. Talk about changing a thought. But that was a thought that I didn't have, but one that came to me. Where'd you get that idea? From God, from my guardian angel. I have a new method that I'm using I got to tell you guys about. It's this book written by an author, Tom T. Moore, called The Gentle Way. It's a simple little book, but it's about angels, and I'm all in. One fantastic thing about Catholic school is, for years they said, leave a little room on your seat for your guardian angel. I'm like, now I know guardian angels need room. I don't think so. They're good wherever they are. But it was very dear and very sweet in the 1960s. And so I've always felt a connection with my guardian angel. But now you can ask your guardian angel, you can get quiet and ask what your guardian angel's name is. And then you request a most benevolent outcome for fill in the blank. Beyond anything I could hope for, imagine, or expect. Thank you. Thank you. Angels must be asked out loud, or whispered, or written. Angels will not step in uninvited. They're very polite. I just needed to tell you that. So where'd you get that idea? I had a wonderful idea today, and I didn't even know it was a great idea. Something told me to take my guitar that didn't have a pickup, because I thought, well, I'm just doing a couple songs on guitar, and I got here and I thought, Meg, that was goofy. But Kevin Conlon said, hey, would you like to use my guitar? And I'm like, yes, I would. So it was a great idea that I didn't even know it was at the time. My favorite name for God is out of the blue. That's where all my ideas, my best ideas, come from. Of all the many names for God, and there are quite a few, some as old as time itself, and some seem rather new. I've got a favorite, and maybe you do too. Mine is out of the blue. Out of the blue, out of the blue, where everything's created old and new. Deals were done and songs were sung, and the time, well, it just flew, and it all came from out of the blue. At times I feel so full of doubt and don't know where I fit. Tired and my mind keeps saying might be time to quit. Then just when I get quiet, 'cause that something tells me to, hope comes from out of the blue, out of the blue, out of the blue. It all works out and everything comes through. I'll have the best idea and I'll know what to do, and it all comes from out of the blue. Everything's created twice, first in thought and then in form. You have been creating from the moment you were born. Out of the blue, out of the blue. Whether or not you believe it's true, just your being here is the biggest clue that you came from out of the blue. Yeah, we all came from out of the blue. Thank you so much. I believe it is time for our meditation. So we invite you here in person and those of you at home to just settle into a safe and quiet place. As we know, there is love here, there is grace here. Best of all, there is a safe and sacred place here. We are feeling the steady healing of hearts and minds and souls. We are one. There is love here, there is grace here. Best of all, there is a safe and sacred place here. We are feeling the steady healing of hearts and minds and souls. We are one. Right here and right now, we are one. One with the one presence and the one power in the universe and in our lives. God the good, omnipotent. And we know that there is only God right here and right now. And in this place of oneness with the one power, from our hearts, we enter the space of quiet, love, life, light, power, peace, beauty and joy. These are the qualities we call forth, knowing that they live, move, and have their being in, as, and through us. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. This is God within. The power that lives, moves, and has its being in, as, and through each and every one of us. We are divine expressions of this one, never to be separated from it. How good it is to be one with God. In the silence. There is love here. There is grace here. Best of all, there is a safe and sacred place here. We are feeling the steady healing of hearts and minds and souls. We are as we come back into the room, into the present, still holding in our hearts the truth. God is present, and all is well. So be it, and so it is.